All right, I'm going to talk a little bit about just science in general, scientific community, because all this stuff that I've learned this year is like mind blowing. And most of the things I've looked at is like legit science. So I'm like, how is it that there's so much science that points to these conclusions, but me being like an extremely science minded person, like, mind you, I don't work in that industry, but like, it's a keen interest of mine. How have I never heard of literally any of this stuff? So I decided to look and see. Um, so Stargate Project, the remote viewing thing, that very solid sound science, immediately suppressed. This one I could understand, right? If remote viewers can view anything, the only thing stopping them from viewing like secret government things or classified materials or using it for nefarious purposes is their own moral compass. So yeah, I mean, I would get why someone would want to like suppress that. But then we have like these telephone telepathy meta-analysis, Dr. Rupert Sheldrake. This one, sound science, people were able to predict who was calling them. The likelihood that it was a chance is 1,000,000,000 to 1. So, there's that. There's the Princeton Engineering Anomalies Research Lab. This is where people were like putting their intention into a computer, right? So this wasn't like human to human, this was like human to machine. And the point was humans, it was either 1 or 0. They tried to intend for it to be a 1 or a 0, and they were able to on a level that's statistically very significant. They did 2.5 million individual trials over 28 years. This, again, very sound and solid science. Retrocausality and precognition, Dr. Daryl Bem, 2011, Cornell University. They studied over 1,000 participants. He took flashcards with a bunch of pictures, and then after they had looked at them, then they sent them onto like a computer, and they were memorizing, studying like select images out of the deck. And they were able to recall the ones that they would later be looking at on the computer with a statistically significant degree of accuracy. So this is like the future affecting the past. All of this stuff, it's crazy. Biophotons and non-local biology. This is Dr. Fritz Albert Popp. This is through the 70s and 90s, basically showing that cells, plants, animals, humans, whatever, all the cells communicate via light within the body. There's biophotons, and they use that as a means of communication throughout the organism. Then there's the AWARE study, the one that I was talking about in another video, where they took all the people who had died and they were still able to, explain what they saw in the room, including blind people. Like, this stuff is all suppressed not because the science is bad, because it's very good. People are just uncomfortable with the conclusions because it goes against everything that we think we know. Or some other ones were suppressed because it's like, yeah, I accept the conclusion, but because you can't explain how you came to that conclusion, like what's the mechanism for this like telepathy thing, they're like, well, then we're just going to disregard it. It's like, that doesn't happen. Well, it's not supposed to happen in other areas of science. It's really disappointing because I'm very much, you present me evidence, compelling evidence, and I will change my mind, which has basically been my whole 2026, right? Discovering evidence and drastically changing my like worldview. I thought better of science, like as a total, right? Like to dismiss, suppress, or like not believe these things because it seems weird or you can't understand how. It's like that should be an impetus to dig deeper, not to just like dismiss it. So anyway, there's tons of actual real science. You just got to dig into it. I gave you a few examples. This stuff is all coming out now. So there's actual like laboratories, you know, institutes, etc., that like do science on these topics now. So there's like, what do we got here? Division of Perceptual Studies, Institute of Noetic Sciences, International Institute of Biophysics and Network, Center for Biofield Sciences. Like, there's tons of legit science being done on these, like entire institutes dedicated to this stuff. So yeah, crazy stuff.